YouTube, welcome. Nour Nation, we're back. We're getting into it, and we're sending out the supreme vibes out to the universe, allowing it to flow out and flow back in. We're living our best life, and I hope you are as well, because today we're here to talk about the Matrix, the Maya. What exactly is the Matrix? How exactly does it work? Where are all these movies and all these concepts coming from? Well, of course, you definitely need to check out, if you haven't seen it, the movie The Matrix. You need to check out The One. You need to check out The Adjustment Bureau. You need to check out Butterfly Effect. These movies will give you more insight. But today, we're going to get into it. I promise. So you ask me, Nour, what exactly is the Matrix? Our ancestors understood that the Matrix itself consisted of two different types of reality. You see, we have the atomic reality, which is your atoms, molecules, quarks, leptons, Plancks, matter. And then you had what they call the quantum reality, which was your spiritual world. You have to start thinking and have that understanding that everything as far as technology, the concepts that we were able to come up with this technology actually came from what already existed. The reason why we were able to create these technologies is because it already existed in our world. The computer that you use on a day-to-day basis is a reflection of our minds and how the universe works. We are walking computers. We are walking every day inside a simulated computer. Everything that you view through your eyes, perceive through your eyes, is quantized. We all understand that matter is what we see. I'm sitting on matter right now. I'm looking at matter right now. And we also understand it breaks down into smaller particles, atoms and molecules. It also breaks down to smaller particles, quarks, leptons, Plancks. Realize that quarks, leptons, and Plancks are just small, pixelated pieces. As in a TV, we know pixels put together can create a bigger picture, and you don't end up seeing just the small pixels. But we know they're there. Same rules apply. Quarks, leptons are like pixels, and putting together, it makes the bigger picture, which is what we see every day in our universe, in our reality. We all understand that for quantum reality, we understand that spirit world exists. Most people can admit the fact that it's a high possibility that there's a world that exists that we necessarily can't see. We only see through a small spectrum of sound as far as what pertains to visual light. And there's plenty of other spectrums out there that we cannot see or perceive through the eye. And that is fact. I think the highest spectrum that we can see past is like 20,000 hertz or megahertz or something like that. And that's it, if I'm not mistaken. But there's plenty more. For example, microwaves. We can't perceive microwaves from the eyes or through the eyes, but we know they exist because those sound waves, when put inside of a machine and we use a stirrer that actually sends those sound waves back and forth, what do you have? You have a microwave. And if you put something inside of that microwave, that's a stirrer going back and forth, sending microwaves through that particular machine into that object, what happens? It creates heat, thus heating up whatever object's inside. They're sound waves on a different spectrum, on a different frequency. It creates microwaves. If you go to another frequency, you have ultraviolet light. It's all sound. But now it's become visible. We can't hear it, but it's still sound. That's a whole nother conversation. But we all understand that when it comes to the spiritual world, we understand that stuff that exists doesn't mean we have to actually see it. Scientists understand this as well. And what they wanted to do is they realized, since we are in a simulation and we are in the matrix, which is basically a computer, a highly advanced computer, then we should realize that just like a computer can be programmed, we understand that the matrix can be programmed. And not only can it be programmed, it can also be hacked. And if we could learn that code of how to program the matrix, we could do whatever we desire. And so that's what people that study quantum physics is all about. Scientists that study quantum physics is about understanding the quantum world in every aspect, all the way from quantum entanglement to any other quantum phenomenon. And once you have that ability, the world is yours. And that's where the power lies. So when they were trying to figure out exactly how to create something that is basically like our mind, except with a sole purpose or focus, because human minds obviously just don't focus on one thing. A computer can focus on whatever task you tell it to, putting 100% of energy into it. They started doing tests. One of the tests that they did is they actually had marbles, and they started throwing the marbles at the wall. They recorded it, of course, on a camera, as like the one I'm in front of, as well as they watched it with the naked eye. Of course, matter collided with matter, solid with solid, and it bounced off. They also watched it on a wave spectrum camera, and they saw how the waves moved as far as when it bounced off the wall. They also used water, and they splashed water against the wall. They watched how the waves moved, and they watched how physically the water collided with the wall. The last thing they decided to do is they decided to throw or send electrons against the wall. Now, naturally, you can't see electrons with your naked eye. So the wave spectrum camera, or the electron camera, I'm not sure of the correct phrase for whatever instrument they were using, it views it in a different way than what we perceive through a video or a camera or the naked eye. They noticed something unique about what they were watching. Once the electrons collided with the wall, they made different types of waves. It's actually what they named and now they call interfering waves. They noticed that with those waves, it seemed to reverberate and create its own shape. It was much different than the other two pieces of matter. And also, when they watched it, they realized that the fact that it was not perceived through the naked eye, it was not perceived through a camera or a lens, but through sheer digitized eye, I guess you would call it, because it's basically a computer, it reacted differently. And they came up with the concept of this. Matter, which will be your atomic world, and quantum world, your spiritual, work differently when it comes to what we view. Think of a computer. When you pull something up to the screen, that particular graphic interface is reacting to what you see. However, in the background, in the computer subconscious, what you don't see is not manifested yet. It's just basically raw data, digitized data, waiting to be accessed by you at all times. Scientists came up with the concept that reality works in the same way. When I'm not looking at the door in the front of my house, it is raw data. It is not actually manifested or actualized until somebody or something views it. Sounds crazy, I know. So it actually responds differently once it is in a being's view rather than being left as raw data. With this understanding, they began to realize that means that the world or the universe reacts to things differently once it's given instructions or is given information that hasn't actually been visualized and manifested into a physical world. Think about this. When you think, your thoughts, we know that thought waves are energy waves and they're sent out to the universe. Nobody can necessarily see them, but the universe knows they're there and it responds to them accordingly. If thoughts were able to be manifested and viewed by any person or any being, once it is seen, it no longer has the same effect that it did when it was living in the quantum world, because now it has been shifted into the atomic world. It doesn't hold the same merit and the same value to the universe, because now it's part of the physical. It's part of the atomic. It's no longer linked with the quantum. And the way the world manifests things is it manifests things through quantum reality, and it pushes it into atomic reality. Understanding this, the scientists actually created a computer to do just that, and they call it the D-Wave. It is a quantum computer. It is your mind almost as close to the same optimization as a human being. Nothing can actually replicate or duplicate a human being to its fullest potential, but they got pretty close. It is able to read whatever the programmer is actually putting into the system and process it and send out brain waves or thought waves into the universe to where the universe understands it. You see, this world that we live in is nothing but a big computer, and it's based off of program code. What we know to be actually binary code, zeros and ones. When you look at an Ankh, our Cometian ancestors knew that Ankh is a zero, and a 1. Has a 0 on top, cross, 1. The world is based off of zeros and ones. Also, we know, our ancestors knew, that the universe is androgynous. Male and female are one. And that also gives you the mother, the womb, the father, and the child, which makes up the Ankh. Zeros and ones, male and female, creating the child. It was a lot of ancient knowledge and ancient symbolism in the way they moved and the way they actually did things that they were trying to bestow upon us. The world consists of zeros and ones. That is the code. Once you learn how the code works, you can use the code to however you want to use it. The biggest key is you need to have something like a program or a computer that can take this code and process it into waves of energy to the point where the universe understands it. And that's what the D-Wave does. It is able to create a nexus between parallel universes, which is a universe just like this one that we're in right now, Very, very similar, but just a couple things different. It's another Nour Solomon, maybe a little bit heavier, maybe a little bit lighter. Maybe I drive a different car, but overall I'm the same. And same as everybody else in it. Just a couple of different differences. And there's multiple ones. They double up, triple up, quadruple up. Got 16, 32. It just continues on. Parallel universes. And the nexuses between them connect all of them together. And what the creators of this computer are allowed to do is they're actually allowed to use the D-Wave to take a view inside parallel universes and access it in order to extrapolate data that may be beneficial for them and put it in the current universe that we're in. New technologies, maybe preventing something from happening. Maybe a war might turn out different. Whatever it may be, they have the opportunity to change it with the parallel universes. And don't take my word. Don't take my word for nothing. Go ahead, you can go to the website. They don't hide anything. Go Google D-Wave. They talk about being able to tap into parallel universes. They talk about having nexuses between them. Okay? A nexus. I don't know if you guys know what nexus is. Nexus is when when two are conjoined together, conjoining these parallel universes. Okay? They don't hide this. These are facts. There's a computer out that has been created to actually give us access to parallel universes. And what happens is when they find this information or this data that they think will be beneficial for the universe we're in right now, they extrapolate it by actually conjoining and shifting two universes together. The downfall on it is, albeit most of the universe is the same, like I said, there are a few differences. And when you shift and conjoin two universes together, a couple things change. That's what has caused what they call the Mandela effect. Make sure you go to Mandela.com. Excuse me, MandelaEffect.com. How did this come to be? Long ago, I think it was around 20 or 30 years ago, Nelson Mandela was actually imprisoned. While he was imprisoned, Mandela passed away. There was a funeral that was, if I'm not mistaken, televised. There was an interview with Mandela's wife, and it was a heartfelt interview. And these things are memories that many, many people all around the world remember. However, for me and for many others like me, I remember Mandela died and he passed away in 2013. I never had any clue that he passed away when he was imprisoned. I always remembered him getting out. How is this so? How is it that there are millions of people that remember him passing away while he was in prison, remember the heartfelt speeches, remember hearing about the funeral? And then there's another half of people that remember him dying in 2013. Just a couple more examples. Looney Tunes. Some people remember Looney Tunes spelled Looneytunes. Tunes like tunes for music. Whereas now, Looney Tunes is spelled with the Toons, like cartoons. You have Forrest Gump. And this is one I remember. Mom always said, life is like a box of chocolates. You never know what you're going to get. I remember specifically him saying life is like a box of chocolates. But if you want to go ahead and watch it now, it will say life was like a box of chocolates. You never know what you're going to get. That don't even sound right to me. But that's what it says now. I'm not a big Darth Vader fan, but this is another one of the examples where in the movie, Darth Vader says, Luke, I am your father. I haven't seen none of it. I know it's crazy. Most people have seen all these movies. I haven't seen it. But they swear by it that he said, Luke, I am your father. But if you watch it now, and I watched the excerpt, he says, no, I am your father. There's no Luke. What the hell is Luke? Why is he saying Luke? Why y'all think he say Luke? I don't know. But one thing I do know is when Queen made that song that said, we are the champions, and at the end they say, we are the champions of the world. Of the world, Craig. They said we are the champions of the world. I promise you. But they don't say that no more. They say we are the champions. That's what they say. Of the world is gone at the end. And I promise you, in all my life, it still sticks in my head that they say of the world. And it still resonates with me, and it messes me up when I don't hear it. How is that possible? That comes from what they call the butterfly effect. You see, when you change and shift different parallel universes and put them together and little nuances have happened, any change creates another subtle change. It's the butterfly effect, where small, minute things get affected. And some people's memory is connected to the current universe, and some memory for people is connected to the parallel universe. And when they shift together, you just have mixed memories. They're not necessarily false memories because they did exist. They existed in a specific time. It's just your reality changed. And this is what the D-Wave is able to do. Creating that nexus between parallel universes, sending out brain waves of binary code to shift and create reality. The D-Wave is such a strong computer. It works off of chips called qubits. The qubit is so sensitive that it actually sits inside of a refrigerator that is at absolute 0 degrees. It is freezing literally the qubits, freezing literally the computer. And when I speak of freezing, these qubits are so sensitive, I'm not talking about freezing as you and I think. I'm talking about universal freeze. You walk inside of the refrigerator and time stops. This is how the D-Wave is working. It computes at such a high level, it needs to be cooled past beyond our understanding. The refrigerator stops time. It's absolute 0 temperature. It's scary. It's really scary. Quantum computers, quantum mechanics. Who has bought this D-Wave computer? I think Google bought it, if I'm not mistaken. A big weapons company, I can't remember the name, I think it was Lockheed, something like that, bought it. But people and companies are understanding the significance of this technology. And before you know it, we'll have smaller versions in our homes. Quantum computers, computing at faster rates, computing multiple different things all simultaneously. Never with that much power, guarantee that. But this is where we're going. This is the Matrix. You must realize that although they're creating computers to shift the Matrix, they never can duplicate or replicate the most powerful computer, quantum computer, on this earth. And that's in here. Because now you have the understanding that a computer can shift and create realities by connecting parallel universes. So you got to know that with your mind, you can shift, create, and connect parallel universes if you just know the right code, if you just know the right thoughts. Nour Nation, we here. Stay woke, stay conscious, stay healthy, and we gonna live our best life. And we not gonna be unaware of what's going on around us. We got it. I appreciate y'all tuning in. Peace, love, harmony. We out.